Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's case is one that a lot of families might find relatable or heartbreaking. The dad says he just wants his kids back, but the mom is convinced the kids are terrified of him. We've got allegations of past abuse, emotional manipulation, and a father who's been absent for months. The judge is stuck in the middle of this, trying to enforce visitation while also urging the father to figure out why his kids don't even want to see him. Let's dig into this parental tug-of-war and see what happens when court orders clash with family dynamics.
To modify parenting time that was filed by Jesse. Amanda Nix, are you opposing this motion that Jesse filed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Jesse, tell me what's going on.
I'm not able to talk to or see my children, and it's been months now. I know that I had custody of them prior to the auto accident. So the idea that I can't even tell them happy birthday on their birthday is not right.
All right. Are you following through on your scheduled visits? Okay, you're shaking your head, yes.
Yes, sir.
Because the court had set up a schedule back in November of 2023. There's going to be kind of a reacclimation visit, and then every other weekend, Friday at 6, with you to pick up in El Dorado, with you returning the kids to the Emporia Brahms, 5 p.m. on Sunday.
Yes.
Dad must return kids on time, no disparaging the other parent. So we've got a schedule. Why isn't the schedule being followed through on, Jesse?
She tells me that the kids don't want to go whenever I go down to El Dorado.
But it's not their call. It's not their call, never has been their call,
Right.
Never will be their call.
You're right.
So why don't you come down to El Dorado and get them?
Oh, I do. I did 3 or 4 times, and then I just figured I'm not going to keep wasting my gas, so I won't come.
Okay,
I text
so
her, and she says the kids don't want to go.
Okay, and why don't they want to go, Jesse?
I don't know. I've asked her, she won't respond.
Okay. It was the intention of the court when disputes were resolved last November that you would have a regular and consistent visitation schedule with the kids. It's something that you have a constitutional right to. The kids don't have a constitutional right to say no, nor does Amanda have any right to interfere with it. All right. So there should be a regular and consistent schedule taking place, absent some extraordinary circumstances. So, Amanda, you want to explain to me what's going on here?
Yes, Your Honor. I had sent my kids with him for the first few times. The very first time he came to pick them up, I had to call law enforcement because my children were trying to run away because they did not want to go with him. And I called law enforcement to try to come help me, like have him take the kids. I sent your secretary a video of me and my boyfriend trying to put my son into the vehicle with Jesse, and Jesse just standing there, not interfering, not trying to help, not trying to do nothing. He's just standing there, and he's not helping me take the kids. He's not trying to take the kids. He's just standing there doing nothing, telling the kids, oh, you need to come with me. It's court ordered. You need to come. But he's not like grabbing them. He's not helping me try to for him to take them. And I sent your secretary a video of that. And then he took the 2 boys one other time besides that. Well, that time he didn't even take them. He just left them here. He came back the next week visit 2 weekends later, and both boys went with him because he told them he had Christmas presents for them. And so they went with him. And when they were down there after a few hours, my oldest called me and was begging me to come pick them up because he doesn't have a bedroom for him. He doesn't have anything for them. They're sitting on a couch in the living room at his father's house, and that's all they had. and we met up and I picked him up. And then the next time he had a visit, they didn't want to go with him, but my middle son, he decided to go with him. And when I went to go pick him up on the following Sunday, he stole my son's phone from him. He wouldn't give it back to him. He stole a controller to a game system from him. It wouldn't give it back to him because my son wouldn't give him a hug. And he gave my daughter a Christmas present. And since she wouldn't give him a hug and tell him she loved him, he took the present back from her and sped off out of the parking lot at Brahms. And since then, he has called maybe twice, and that's all I've had from him. He doesn't show up. He doesn't call the kids. He has my phone number. And anytime I try to call him, he hangs up on me automatically. So I don't. Officer Thompson told me that he was not going to force my children to go with him because he didn't see why they should go with him if they were in that much fear of going with him. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
What is this fear based on?
Him not bringing them back to me. He has physically and mentally abused my children their whole life. And I have shown you proof of this throughout court hearings. I also sent your secretary a behavioral report from my son, Jaxis, that shows when he has interactions with Jussie, his behavior at school is erratic. He gets in trouble, he acts out, but when Jussie is not in the picture, he has perfect school. He has not been in trouble one time this year compared to last year whenever Jussie was in and out of their lives. Like, he is doing so great right now. And I'm so scared for that to get messed up again because Jussie wants to pop in and then leave again. And then pop in and leave again. He's not consistent. He doesn't try. He just sits there and says, "Oh, come with me." He doesn't show them love. He doesn't attempt to be a father to them. He just wants to take them because it's court ordered. I don't understand why they need to go with him if he's not going to be a father to them. He's not even putting the effort in. And I have
just a
school
moment.
records
Jesse,
to prove this.
just a moment. Jesse, do you want to respond to things that she said?
Yeah, that's all true.
Okay, I can't hardly hear you.
Sorry. It's untrue, Your Honor. It's not true.
Okay, so Jesse, why don't these kids want to go with you?
I don't know. I've asked her a couple of times, at least twice. She won't respond.
Okay, who's she?
Amanda.
Okay. Well, don't you have your own perception as to why these kids may not want to go with you for these weekend visits that are set up?
If that's the case, then yeah, I've got a guesstimate on what I might consider, but she's been a liar so much in the past that I know better than to even try to co-parent with her anymore.
Well, what we're talking here, parents, is 4 days a month, essentially. 2 days every other weekend. That's it. It's not an unusual amount of parenting time for the father at all. Again, this court is always hesitant to ever put the children in charge of their own relationships with their parents. I don't know how they're being influenced in either home. And I hope that the mother's not doing anything to discourage these kids from seeing their father. There was a time when Jesse was recovering from an accident, and Amanda had to take over, I think, some pretty significant parenting responsibility during that time. But we're past that now, and Jesse is entitled to have time with his kids, all of them. You know, I think they would be much more comfortable if they all went at the same time. I mean, it's hard to understand here what's going on. If they don't enjoy their time with their father, the father needs to recognize that and try to make some changes that would make his time with the kids much more enjoyable or much better. I don't know what you do with them during your weekend times, Jesse. What your normal routine is, or what are the types of things that you try to do with them? You want to offer some of that, or
Been playing with them. Gave Jax and RJ their Christmas presents while they were there. Um, my youngest daughter Pixie was never able to come with, so I didn't want her opening her Christmas present in the parking lot of Brahms. It doesn't make any sense. Um, and so I put the Christmas present back in the truck and we went home with it.
well, what are you actually requesting here today, Jesse? Jesse, I'm waiting for a response. Did he freeze up?
Your Honor, may I say something?
No. I don't know that Jesse is currently participating. It appears that his Zoom screen is frozen. He may have lost video and audio temporarily. We'll wait for him to rejoin.
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can now. You froze
Okay.
up and then we're gone.
Yeah. So
The last question, Jesse, was what are you asking the court for today?
just to have my kids back. I had full custody of them before the wreck. Um, they were taken from me uh, during my hospitalization, and I haven't been able to have a positive relationship with them since.
Oh, I saw you shaking your head, Amanda, but isn't that exactly what the situation was?
He didn't get his custody taken from him. I did what I was supposed to do to get my visitation, my custody back in the court. And Brooke stood in for him, who was his girlfriend at the time. And we came to an agreement, and I got my visitations back. And since he was in a rehab center, then he wasn't able to take full care of them. And so they came to live with me. I didn't take it from him. I got it back doing what I was supposed to do. And he has my son's phone number. He can call him at any time. He chooses not to. He doesn't make contact with the children. He doesn't try to make contact with the children.
All right. Jesse, when would your next scheduled visit begin?
This weekend.
All right. And if you are able to pick up all three kids, what do you intend to do with them this weekend?
I was thinking about going to the zoo. They've never been to Topeka Zoo. Just have a good conversation with them, let them know that daddy's still here and daddy's still a good man. And I mean, other than that, nothing. Just take them to Topeka Zoo.
Well, it would seem to me that your proposed parenting plan was going to be different than what we have currently. Jesse, that's why I asked you today what it is that you're specifically asking this court to order.
My kids to be back with me, for them to feel safe and feel like this can be home again.
All right. Well, this court's order in November of 2023 isn't being followed. I'm not inclined to change it. These kids need to go with their dad. I don't, usually these not wanting to go situation, they're caused by two things. Number one, parental alienation from the custodial parent side. In other words, Amanda's side. She's doing something to make these kids believe that they have control of the situation and they can just simply say no, or worse yet, she's encouraging them not to go. The other thing is, Jesse, there's something from your side that's discouraging the kids from going. And I don't know what it's like. I don't know what environment you offer them. I trust you do have appropriate sleeping arrangements for these kids when they come?
I do, yes.
Okay, which are what?
The boys have their own bedroom, and
Okay.
Pixie would have her bedroom.
So there's 2 extra bedrooms in your house?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a 5-bedroom home. It's just my dad and his wife live here.
Okay. Okay. So you're telling me you have a separate room from your kids and they each have the boys have a room and the girl has a room,
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Has Amanda ever seen this house?
Not that, maybe about a decade ago.
All right. Well, the director of the court can make at this point, Amanda, these kids need to go. I mean, this is a very conservative parenting schedule. It's every other weekend for 2 days. This needs to work.
Your
And
Honor,
you haven't
if
offered
I
anything that would compel this court to enter an order where they don't have to see their father.
if
He
you
was the
could speak to
custodial
these
parent.
children
Just a few years ago, he was the custodial parent of these kids. He was
because
raising
of lies that he put against me and accusations, and from him being on drugs and getting me hooked on drugs, and then him going back and trying to play it off as he wasn't. That's why he started dating the lady that runs the UA place. That's why it became a conflict of interest. He has made up lies about me, just like in his proposed parenting plan he just made, with all these lies just so he could get it into court because he thinks something is going on that there isn't. My kids are 100% happy right now. They're the happiest and they're doing the best that they have ever done. And that is because he has not been here interfering with their lives back and forth. And my stepmom is on Zoom with us here. And you can ask her personally without me around if you would like the difference in my children. You can ask DCF. You can ask South Central. You can ask the school. These kids thrive when he is not around. When he is around, they plummet. They just deteriorate. These kids do not need him in their lives. He is not a father. He might have donated the sperm to make these children, but he is not a father and he has never been a father. He's never even thrown a baseball with my 14-year-old son. He's never even tried to. He has never interacted with these kids in a way of being a father, except for taking them from me when he did and tearing me down to the ground to the point of where I gave him custody because I was going to end up hurting myself. I I cannot put my kids through this again. I refuse to put my kids through this again because they are doing so great right now. He does not call the school. He does not check on them. My kids are in sports. My son plays football. My older son played basketball last year. My daughter does gymnastics. Like they are doing great. And he doesn't call, he doesn't ask about them. He doesn't call the school. He can call up there. He can get their records. He can check on them. He chooses not to do this.
All right, Amanda, hang
He
on a
chooses.
second. I've got a question for Jesse. Why do you live where you do live so far from your kids' residence? Jesse?
Yeah. All right. Can you hear me? The internet connection is unstable.
Okay, that means you're about ready to lose it. But tell me before you go, why do you live where you live? Why don't you live closer to the kids and be more actively involved with them?
This is where I'm from. I have called the school many a times. I've gotten their report cards. Um, the idea that I'm not checking on them is blasphemy, but this is where
Your Honor, I've had 3 meetings in the last month about my middle child at school, and never once has he called, has he been involved, have they said anything about him. They have actually printed me off his behavioral report to use in court today to show that they know that when the dad isn't involved, he is doing so much better. They printed this off for me just for court today. And I sent the email to your secretary with the report in it.
Okay, so
And the date,
your son acts up in school, Amanda, and you put that on Jesse.
no, the dates that he acts up and the time match exactly to court times. When he goes with Jesse, when we have court, the dates on the behavior report are exactly the same. When Jesse's not involved in their life, he is not in trouble one bit. And the dates prove that. If you watch the video that I sent your secretary of me trying to put my son in the car with his father, you will see that there is a fear there. There is he's not a father, Your Honor. He is not a father, and he never has been a father. The
Except
whole
for the
time
year that he was their custodial parent.
no. He was their custodial parent, yes, but he was not a father. He had 9 different women in his house taking care of my children because he refused to do it. He pulled my oldest son out of school to watch his brother and sister because he refused to miss work. He interfered with their education because he didn't want to miss work. He made my 7-year-old at the time stay home alone during the day. My stepmother had to pick him up from school sick, and she had to drop him off at his house and leave him alone all day long because Jesse refused to come home and take care of him.
Okay,
And he
we're not
wouldn't let
talking
her
about
take him.
Jesse as a custodial parent here.
Yeah, that this is when he had them.
We're talking about him having limited visitation time with
But I'm
these
telling
kids
you
twice a
why
month.
these kids don't want to go with him, why they don't see him as a father. My daughter will not go with him. She refuses. She shakes and trembles and cries if she gets near him. My older son, he's 14 years old. He refuses to go with him. He says that he will not, and if he does, he's going to fight him. Like, that, if that shows you that a son wants to fight his father just because he has to go with him, then, and you're going to force that, then there's something not right there. You can talk to my children personally if you want, pull them into your office, do whatever you want to do. I have no influence on this. The influence is behind his behavior towards them. It is not me. I have tried to make my children go with him. I have tried to force them to go with him. They refuse to, and I am not going to put them in a situation where they do not feel safe and want to. The only reason he wants to take them is to hurt me.
All right. Now you say they don't feel safe. You've never articulated any reason why I would believe that they're not safe with Jesse.
I have, in previous court dates, I have given you pictures of my middle son with a black eye that Jesse had gave him, with a welt from his neck to his butt from slapping him with a belt. I have given you this proof before. I have PFAs where he had beat me up and took my daughter from me at gunpoint and threw her in the back of a car. The Wichita police pressed charges on him for this. I have shown you all this before.
And when was that all done?
June 11th, 2021 is when he did that.
And then he became their custodial parent for a year.
Yeah, because he had me on drugs and I was trying to get off of drugs, but him taking my kids did not make that any better. So it was a struggle for me to get off of drugs, yes, because I didn't have my children. But he started dating the UA girl so that he could get away with everything. That's why I had to go to Wichita to get a hair follicle, because it was a conflict of interest. He has done nothing but torture me and these children for years now. And I've been fighting and fighting against him to stop the torture, to stop the mission. He just does nothing but abuse us mentally and physically. And I have shown you proof of this. I have shown you records of this. I can summons whoever you need, his friends, I can summons to court and prove it to you. But I don't have the money for an attorney. I don't know how to do all this. My kids are happy and safe with me right now. And I am not jeopardizing that again for him to come in and out of their life and ruin everything that I've had to build back up. My kids have been in South Central through therapy, through counseling, and I have got them out of all this. They have graduated from all this because he has not been in the picture. He is not a father.
When was the last time he had any parenting time with these kids?
April.
Back in, I want to say it was March, he took Jax's, our middle child, and that's when he stole his phone from him and refused to give it back.
Jesse, is that correct?
That is not correct, Your Honor. I do not steal from my children.
Well, okay, no, I was asking
I have
about
location of
really
his phone
the
still
last
at your
time
house.
you exercised parenting rights with these kids.
Yeah, Jax dropped his phone underneath my dad's seat.
Okay, I don't want to hear about the phone. I'm
Okay.
just dealing with the time frame right now. Has it been since March since you've been with any of these kids?
That is correct.
Okay. Then why have you waited so long to file this motion? What
It took
triggered
me a
this
minute.
now?
It took me a minute to figure out how to file, what paperwork to fill out.
Okay. It took 9 or 10 months.
Yeah.
Well, actually not that long. 6 or 7 months anyway. It would seem to me, Mr. Nix, that you need to have sit-down meetings with all your kids. You need to understand where they're coming from and why, without interference from Amanda, by the way. You need to have these kinds of meetings with each one of them, probably separately. We're all old enough to talk to you.
Yes.
And you need to understand where they're coming from. Again, I don't put kids in charge of their own affairs. They're often influenced by all kinds of things that are adult decisions, not their decisions. Jesse has asked this court to enforce his constitutional rights to parent. Amanda, and I hope you understand that. This isn't something that's a gift from the court. This is a right that he has to spend time with his kids, and he has a very limited visitation schedule, at least in part because of where he lives as compared to where these kids live and go to school. But he needs to see his kids. And your attempt, apparently, just to shut him completely out of their lives is not justified or warranted. So I think there needs to be some effort made from both sides here for reconciliation. And Jesse, you need to understand that if these kids are hesitant to come stay with you, you need to understand why.
Yes.
And for some change that you can make that would make them feel better about these visits, I think you should make them.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, the schedule that's set up is what the court views as just a minimum schedule. And the court will not change its current order. But here's what I recommend to you, Jesse. Since you come to El Dorado at the start of the visits anyway, Perhaps there's a way that you can go to a neutral place, because I'm sure you don't necessarily want to do this at Amanda's house, and I don't necessarily recommend that. That all these kids go to a neutral location, maybe a restaurant or a park or whatever, and you sit down and you talk to each one of these kids in a very non-threatening environment, and get some understanding from them as to where they're coming from and why. Because you don't seem to understand, Jesse, why it is they're hesitant to come stay with you. And I don't expect you necessarily to take Amanda's point of view. Her position and yours is obviously very adversarial. You've had back and forth on custody. You've accused of each other of all kinds of things over the years. I think you need to hear this directly from each one of your children.
I agree.
Okay. And Amanda, accommodate this Friday when he comes down. And the weather has been very good here for late October. Perhaps a public park or something might be a good place.
My son has his very last football game Saturday morning.
Okay.
So if he can't miss that, like, it's his last game of the season.
You have a place to stay down here, Jesse?
No, not at the moment, no.
I trust you could stay in a hotel or a motel for one night?
Yes.
Okay.
Or we could do the following weekend if you'd like.
All right.
So he can have
I don't
his
want him
full
to miss
time.
that last football game. That's probably a big thing to him.
Yes.
And this isn't a school team, right? This is some sort of club team.
Yeah, it's the junior Wildcat football.
Okay. Go to his game, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
Show your fatherly support for him. And the court will not enforce this Friday the overnight part of the order, which is contemplated. Rather, the court will expect that Jesse will stay in El Dorado. All right. Have that talk with each of your kids, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
You need to understand. Perhaps you'll want to modify your own schedule based on whatever it is they tell you, if you accept it.
Right.
I'm sure each one of these kids have a story and you need to listen to it.
Yes.
All right. Amanda, anything else we need to address currently?
I don't know, Your Honor. It's hard for me to put my kids in this situation that they don't feel comfortable and safe in, but I will try again. I'm not going to promise that they will go with him because I'm not going to force them to go if they don't feel safe. I'm not going to put my kids in an unsafe environment. He can't drive himself. He has not his own home. He don't have nothing to provide for them. So he hasn't shown proof of anything. The last time my middle son was there, he told me that he had to sleep on the couch in the living room because the basement is unlivable and upstairs rooms are taken by his dad and his dad's wife.
There are a lot worse things in the world than a kid having to sleep on a couch.
Well, I understand that, but he's telling you that he has this stuff and he's not providing any proof or evidence of it. He's just speaking of it. I have proof and evidence of everything that I've talked about. I would like for him to show me proof and evidence of the things that he says also. Can he show me photographic proof of these bedrooms or having anything that supplies for these children? Can he show me
proof? It's so funny, Amanda, as you complain about him, where we were just 3 years ago, where
and
this court granted him just a moment. He had sole legal custody. He was making all decisions for the children, and all of your parenting time orders were suspended because of your situation at the time. And then I allowed him in his discretion to allow you to have parenting time under conditions as he sees fit. Now, we've had a dramatic turnaround here, according to you. So now you are the one that should be able to make all the decisions for the kids, despite the fact that you two have joint legal custody. And essentially, you want to cut him off completely from all parenting rights with your kids.
Well,
It
he's
just
cut
seems like
himself
a
off
great
completely.
irony here.
He has cut himself off. He doesn't make the will to want to be there. He only does that in court. He doesn't do it outside of court. He doesn't call the kids. Just like I said, he has my children's phone number. He doesn't call them. I'm not interfering with their phone lines. He can call and text them anytime he wants, and he chooses not to. That's not on me.
All right.
That's on
You know,
him.
The court has given some direction here, which I'll expect to be followed. Jesse, you'll be in El Dorado on Friday evening.
yes, sir.
And is to make these kids available to you for, at a minimum, communication, private time conferencing. And again, I implore you to listen to whatever it is that they have to say
Yes.
and to perhaps govern your future behavior to some extent accordingly.
Right.
Until then, the court's current order remains in effect. All right. At this time, the court will recess this proceeding, and this Zoom meeting may be ended for all at this time.
Your Honor,
Just a moment. I thought I.
where am I meeting my kids and whatnot?
Excuse me?
Where am I meeting my kids and whatnot on Friday?
I thought you and Amanda would work that out, but if we have to decide it here, fine. Amanda, what are you proposing? Not at your house. Public place. She apparently doesn't have a suggestion. Amanda, you're muted, so you're trying to talk. I can't hear you. Okay, Jesse, do you have a proposal? Since I can't get her back on audio.
McDonald's.
Sorry, that's what I was saying. We can go to McDonald's, but I would like to have another trusted adult. He can choose who he wants, but I would like another trusted adult to be there. So my
Well,
kids don't
who?
feel like they're being trapped with him somewhere. If there's somebody else that can come besides his dad, because they do not know his father, if there is somebody else that can be there, they don't have to like be right there next to him, but just in the same room.
I can get that.
Okay.
I mean, I know he trusts my stepmom. If he would allow her to just sit in the same room as them or something, like they can go into the play place or somewhere else.
I can't control whether your stepmom decides to come to McDonald's or not.
Well, if he's okay with that, I mean, she would love to be
I just
there
don't want
for
her
them.
butting in.
No, I don't want her to butt in, just as long as she's in the same room, so the kids know that they have someone safe there for them.
She doesn't interfere. Again, I can't control whether she wants to
Okay.
go to McDonald's and eat at the same time.
Okay,
Just what I want to avoid is outside interference.
that's fine. I don't want her to interfere at all. I want them to be 100% real with him.
And Jesse, this is your time to talk to your kid dads. He can be there, but this is for you.
Yes.
All right. And you need to patronize the restaurant. If you're going to use a restaurant for this, you need to patronize it.
Okay.
Okay. To some extent.
That means that you need to feed the kids this time, like he said last time.
That sounds perfectly fair to me.
Because last time he refused to feed the kids when we met at Brahms.
We actually
When
bought
he was
tax
told to.
dinner because Jax would eat.
I have the receipt that I bought them food.
Be prepared to buy him dinner that night, Jesse.
Yes, of course. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck. I hope this goes smoothly and we start some degree of cooperation and reconciliation here. Good luck in that regard, folks.
What time?
Well, whatever your start time is for your visits.
5, I believe. 5 or 6. I can't
Is there any
remember.
reason why that wouldn't work? Well, it's 6. It's Friday at 6.
Okay.
Okay. 6 p.m. Friday, El Dorado McDonald's.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good luck.
Well, that was intense. The judge didn't change the visitation schedule, but he did push the father to do more than just show up. He needs to actually connect with his kids and figure out why they're so distant. Meanwhile, the mother's concerns about the kids' emotional well-being are still hanging in the air. What do you think? Can court-ordered visitation really work when there's this much history and hurt involved? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.